A very warm welcome to StudyIQ, my dear friends. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you all are doing good. Today is 28 July 2020 days Tuesday. I would like to start today's discussion with this quote by APJ Kalams, sir. Let us sacrifice our today so that our children can have a better tomorrow. He's talking about environment. We are going to talk about environment in detail. But before that, I would like to introduce all of you to our smart course. Best faculties of our country together, they have designed this smart course. It is particularly for your UPSC Civil Services Examination. It covers your pre as well as mains examination, mind you, till 31st July. EMI offer is also going on, and to find out more about it, all you have to do is download our mobile application. To download the PDF of today's lecture, check out my Telegram channel. You can follow me on Facebook. Please make sure that you share this lecture with other students. Hit the like button if you have learned something from today's discussion. And please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Dear friends, we have so many articles to go through today. So let me quickly start with the first one. This one is from Indian Express, APJ Abdul Kalam's Vision for Development. As we all know that we are going through a very turbulent time at present, COVID-19 pandemic, and because of this COVID-19 pandemic we were forced to implement a lockdown. This has disrupted our economical life, this has disrupted our health life, our social life, and I'm not sure how long its impacts are going to last. Things are we are getting there slowly, things are improving, but still the losses and so many businesses are never going to see sunlight, so it's going to destroy so many families. APJ Abdul Kalam sir said that the earth is the only living planet in our solar system. Before I jump on to this thing, I would like to tell one thing. This is my personal opinion, and I would like to share this thing with all of you guys, that one of the biggest contribution of APJ Kalam sir is not his missiles, not his other things that he has invented, right? Or institutions that he has created. I think the biggest contribution is he has ignited young minds, right? And this, I believe, is the biggest contribution. This is a sign of great leader. A great leader is not just it's not just limited to his leadership skills. A great leader will create more leaders, and this is a chain reaction, and that's what APJ Kalam has started, and I thank him very much. And these are the things, these are the qualities that are going to live with us forever. Human beings, we die, right? Every one of us is going to leave this earth one day, but those people who have ignited young minds, right, their work is going to stay forever, right? Forever. And this is what life is all about, isn't it? To do something that will create a positive thing in not just human beings' lives, but overall environment. And APJ Kalam sir is absolutely right. He said that the earth is the only livable planet in our solar system. Earth is the only planet that has life on it. As far as our solar system is concerned, we cannot say anything about the universe. We don't know if there are other places where life exists, but as far as I know, or as far as we know today as human beings, is that Earth is the only livable planet in our solar system, and is the only planet we know where life exists. So it's a very precious thing. We cannot just let it go for the sake of money, for the sake of development, for the sake of our luxuries and comfort and other things. Humanity is duty bound to protect and preserve the earth. Few days ago, we were talking about this rise of zoonotic disease, and we know the reason as well. One of the main reason is we have broken those doors or those shields, those walls that were there between the animal world and human society. We have purged this species, so many species, so many diseases, so many viruses. When they are within the boundary of wild animals, they are okay, means everyone is living in harmony. But when you break the wall, then they are going to enter our life. In fact, when we are breaking the wall and entering into wildlife, we are going to get affected with this sort of diseases. and then we are suffering from it. And its impact. A small virus can create this much damage. This is just an indication that if we don't sort out our things now, then we are going to be in a very big trouble. Our society and governance systems recognize this and we have to become more sensitive. Even small delays in action can cause unrepairable consequences. At present, India is capable, and that's what APJ sir used to say, and he is very right as well, that we have better governance system and we have a demographic dividend. We have 65% population is below the age of 35 years. So this means that our nation is a young nation. We have energetic youngsters in our arsenal. So we need to train them. We have to nudge them to use and to change their behavior, to change the way they consume things, so that our earth, our country at least, can become more sustainable, and we can inspire other countries as well by our action. In his final lecture, it was about creating a livable planet Earth on 27th July 2015. So yesterday, that was 27th July 2020, we, it was 5th death anniversary of APJ Kalams sir, and our country has celebrated his death anniversary in a very inspiring way. I'm going to take you through it. We have one news item. I will explain it to you when we reach there if we have time, or else you can of course download the PDF and go through it, but it is in today's lecture, so don't worry about it. Now, back in 2012 Beijing Forum in China, he said about livable planet Earth for the first time, and since then he was heavily promoting this idea of a livable planet and our duty to protect it. Today we are living in a global village. Everyone is connected with each other with the help of this internet and telecommunication technology. The things that we do here, if we think that this Brazilian government is giving green signal for chopping Amazon forest is going to impact just their lives. Yes, directly it's going to impact the lives of tribal people who are living there, or animals who are living there in the Amazonian forest. But indirectly it is also affecting us. So those days are gone when we used to think or worry about only national environment policies. Right now we have to work together. We have to behave as one species, right, as human beings, and we have to think about our planet. Every single individual has to recycle, has to think about waste management, energy efficiency, designs without pollution. If you're using papers, then you have to reduce your dependence on using papers. We can have paperless offices, renewable energy, effective use of natural light and ventilation, sustainability in education. All these things should be part of our daily life, because if 10 people are trying to protect the environment and if 2 people are destroying it, then the work of 10 people will be of no use. Kalam advised politicians to show maturity and work for sustainable development of the country. We have an article, and it is very unfortunate that our environment ministry is not learning that much from APJ Abdul Kalam's advice. We are going to talk about it as well, and here we have 2 important points, that as per Article 79 of the Constitution, Parliament consists of President, 2 houses of Parliament, and that is upper house and lower house, and he emphasized to create a good relationship between all these 3, or this is a triangle, right? Our parliament is here, so you have President's office, you have Lok Sabha, you have Rajya Sabha. So this triangle should be a golden triangle. It should work with each other. This whole 3 offices or 3 parties should work with each other in tandem, in a sort of sync, so that we can deliver best or take best decisions for our country. Moving on to next item. This one is about global coalition of democracies, and this article is from Indian Express. On your screen you can see Mike Pompeo. He is Foreign Minister of USA. The official post is US Secretary of State. He said 2 interesting things, in fact 3. The first point is that nearly 5 decades of US engagement with China have arrived at a dead end. The relationship between US and China are at its worst. Second, Pompeo recognized that USA alone cannot address China's hegemony, this China's rising aggression. To address this, we need collective action from democratic world or democratic countries. The third interesting thing that he said is that the Cold War between USA and USSR, it was not that, means at that point of time it was looking very big, but if you compare it with USA and China's Cold War or Tech Cold War, then it's a very complex thing. China's or the challenge that China's behavior is presenting us is very complex, because USSR was limited in one area. It was trying to influence so many countries. It was trying to get as many team members as possible, but it was not, means USSR's technology, its social influence, other things were not that much penetrative. But when it comes to China, China is already within our borders. You see so many products that we are using. You see so many things that we are using, so many services that we are using, right? Like I'll give you an example of our country. Just one example, I think, will be enough for you guys to think about it. For example, Chinese mobile applications, or you can say Chinese products. So many electronic gadgets that we are using, they belong to, like, let's say USA's, like Apple. Apple is a US company, isn't it? But the phones that we have been using so far are, and many of them are still made in China. So when it comes to products, when it comes to services, Chinese influence is huge in our country, and not just in our country. It is everywhere, you can see, right? You can find it everywhere. In some places you don't find their products, but you find their money or infrastructure created by China. Pompeo has also called China a party state, and this is a new thing, right? Party state means one party is, as we know, in China you have this Communist Party of China that is controlling everything, right? Washington has said this thing, that it is not against the Chinese people, it is against the policy of this Communist Party of China. Pompeo also talked about Chinese democratic activists like Van Den and Wei Jingshan. And there was a time, we'll talk about it in detail, like I'll give you one example here. See this article. During the Korean War in early 1950s, the USA came extremely close to dropping nuclear weapon on China. Relationship were that bad. But then later on, this China and USSR relationship, there was a breakup. And since then, since 1972, it's been 5 decades now, Richard Nixon, he visited Beijing, and since then, USA has invested heavily in developing China. And it was believed, yesterday we were talking about this thing, that it was believed back in 1970s that when China will become a rich nation or more prosperous nation, automatically people will demand democracy, and this one party rule will go away, and they have to create space for democracy. But all these things were just a miscalculation, or I would say it was like a mirage. In reality, China, after becoming more stronger in terms of economy, it is more authoritative. Only one particular party and few people are running the whole show in China. So remember yesterday's discussion about Hong Kong, Margaret Thatcher, and China's expectation of Western world from China. Now, China occupies a significant space in Democratic Party's draft platform. We know that elections are not that far in USA, and you have two candidates. One is Mr. Trump, and the other one is Biden. So Biden is believed to means, let's say this is Biden team, this is Trump team. So Biden is a little bit pro-China, and Mr. Trump is totally anti-China, as we all know. Now, the thing is, what we have to, as a country, India, what we can make out of this this issue or this tussle that is going on between USA and China. Biden team is saying that they will improve relationship with China if he becomes president of USA in 2020, and Mr. Trump is saying that it will be a big mistake and he is going to create a team of democratic countries. He said this thing a few days ago as well. We are going to talk about it now. As far as India is concerned, we have to keep this thing in mind that Democrats are talking about Asia Pacific. Earlier on, USA used to talk about Asia Pacific. Asia Pacific is limited with this portion. When you talk about Indo-Pacific, when I say Asia Pacific, I'm basically talking about these countries here, right? And then you have, this is Pacific Ocean. And when we say Indo-Pacific, then we cover this portion as well. Parts of African country, of course, India. So India is more interested in Indo-Pacific, and Democrats are talking about Asia-Pacific. So we have to be a bit careful here. Though Democrats have said that they believe in Pacific Century, and they have also said this thing that they are going to invest heavily in developing a strategic partnership with India. So one thing that we will find in near future is a group of democracies coming together, D10, or maybe this is not a new concept. For example, back in 2000s, early 2000s, Bill Clinton, he visited India, and at that point of time, he talked about community of democracies. So Atal Bihari Vajpayee was ready to join it. So India was ready to join this community of democracies. During UPA government, George W. Bush talked about a democracy promotion fund. Then we have Asian quadrilateral on our was discussed between Delhi and Washington. Now we have this quad where we have 4 nations. This is Australia, Japan, USA, and of course India. Then we are talking about Quad Plus as well, where we can add New Zealand, South Korea, Vietnam. Remember last G7 meeting in which President Trump talked about G10. If we talk about G10, then it's about including Australia, South Korea, India. So this statement of Pompeo, as well as democratic leaders, this Democrats, not democratic leaders, this Democrats, the party in USA. So they are indicating this thing, and it's not just them. When these countries are ready to join G10, and when Quad Plus, we are talking about Quad Plus, then UK talked about this G10. G10 is a group of 10 democracies. So this indicates that basically that democratic countries are a bit skeptical about China, and they know this thing, if they admit it or not. One thing they know, undercurrent, that to control China, you have to work together. Either you swim together or sink together. Then the big freeze. This one is an eye-opener for the world as well as for USA. The big freeze is an article from this newspaper called Pioneer. So I've already explained you this line. At that point of time, back in 1950s, there was this General Douglas MacArthur, and he was a bit hawkish in his policy. So he was insisting that we should drop a nuclear bomb on China. And Harry Truman, the then president, he fired General Douglas MacArthur, and the world was saved from another nuclear tragedy. Back in 1960s, USSR and China's relationship, they had this split or breakup, and since then USA has worked in economic empowerment of China. But now they have realized that the mistake they have done with Taliban. In early days, USA used to support Taliban, this Mujahideen of Afghanistan, and today they are a big threat in the same way. USA has nurtured another monster, and that is Communist Party of China. Recently, USA has ordered Chinese consulate in Houston to be closed, and China has retaliated with similar action. One of the main reasons why this consulate office was asked to be closed was because Houston is a nerve center of USA's space program. So, about moon, about going to Mars and all these things, China was keeping an eye on it and collecting data and everything. So this is, altogether technological front war as well, you can say. India cannot cope out of this fight. Whether we like it or not, for the sake of democracy, for the sake of our own protection, and for friendship or for allies, we have to stay with the USA and we have to support USA, because alone India as well cannot handle China, and this is a reality we have to accept. See here, I have one more article. Cargil Lessons. Prime Minister Modi was addressing the whole nation about this Cargil Divas. We celebrated 21 years of Cargil Vijay Divas. And back in 1999, when we were trying to build friendship or friendly relationship with Pakistan, they gifted us with this Cargil intrusion. So, that's how these nations have behaved. Pakistan, you cannot trust Pakistan. When it comes to China, you cannot trust China. And this whole China LSE issue is an eye-opener for us. So far we have always reacted rather than being proactive. We have our policy or our way of executing things have been reactive rather than proactive. So now when we find this LSC issue, right, now we realize that we are short in critical weapons platforms. Now government is releasing emergency funds to our armed forces so that they can purchase weapons systems to counter China. This is a clear lack of planning. This is our weakness. This is our vulnerability. And if we don't identify our vulnerability or weaknesses, we cannot improve it, isn't it? So what I was saying is that whether we like it or not, right, we have to stick with this D10 or maybe G10 or G11 or this Quad Plus group. We need to be part of this democratic union or democratic countries coming together and forming one big unit, because just imagine if alone USA, one of the most powerful nation on this earth, if USA is clearly saying that alone it cannot handle China, then can you imagine India? India also cannot afford a sustainable means for a long period of time. I don't think so. We can match up China if we stay in the same state of hostility. So we need to have other countries, and these are our weaknesses on which we have to work. Then we have one article on healthcare system. Very interesting, very eye-opening article. This article is written by two doctors, and as we all know that this pandemic has disrupted our health, environment, livelihoods and supply chains. Now, Indian healthcare system is predominantly all about privatized care or private hospitals, isn't it? And any private business. The main aim or motive is profit maximization, and there is nothing wrong with it. But when it comes to healthcare, it should be free, right? Means if we are living in a democratic country, if we are living in a welfare state, then education, skill and health system, these are the three things that I strongly believe it should be free, because it's about human capital. The return that you will get on investing, once you invest in after your human capital, the return that you will get, nothing else can match it. So, but unfortunately, we have so many private hospitals in our country, and they're providing good facilities, no doubt. But the reason I'm saying unfortunately is because we are still a poor country, and not every one of us can afford good quality of healthcare. Now, this COVID-19 episode is an eye-opener as well. This routine admissions for observation or insurance claims, routine checkups, all these things have dropped. And in fact, it's very interesting to note that heart attacks as well as strokes and their numbers and their cases have also dropped. So either things were not that much necessary, or these doctors are also saying that this is a positive impact of unpolluted air, decreased work stress, home cooked food, right? All these things have created a positive effect on those patients or those people who are not feeling that great. Or maybe we were over-diagnosing or over-treating certain emergencies. We need to find answers, right? These are a few questions, like why there were so many cases, heart attack cases on regular basis, and during this lockdown and after lockdown we don't find that many, because many people are either they have developed good habits, or things where we were overdiagnosing things, and overdiagnosing, overtreating means making more profit, isn't it? Like for example, chemotherapy is very dangerous as well as it's very painful, but then as well so many doctors, they recommend this chemotherapy. It will not create that good quality of life for patients, but still they have to go through it because that's what doctors have recommended you. So do we really need this sort of things? Then when it comes to health checkups, routine checkups, the doctors here are arguing that do we really need those checkups, or are they part of like money making business of hospitals? At least some good things that we find is that people have paid attention to their diet. Some of them are doing exercise. Some of them have started walking, and good sugar control, quitting smoking and tobacco, and so many things. And the pandemic may have finally taught us the importance of social etiquettes as well as coughing and spitting etiquettes. Hospitals and doctors' incomes have fallen, and we have to be careful here that they will try to recover as much as money or their losses. They will try to cover up their losses by once everything will get normal, they will give you huge bills, or unnecessary treatments and checkups and other things can become a reality in near future. We find this huge bills are being given to COVID-19 patients, 15 lakh, 10 lakh, 8 lakh rupees for just giving paracetamols and vitamin C tablets and hot food and hot water, and just looking or giving them a sort of room, isolated room. For that they are charging, some hospitals are charging 5 lakh rupees plus. So I'm not saying that everything is just bad and about profit making. So many good doctors are out there, right? They have their hospitals, they have their private practices, but they have left all those things. They have left their commerce aside, and they are at present contributing as corona warriors. They are real lighthouses, and they are the bridges. They have rejuvenated this doctor-patient relationship. There was a time that doctors were very trustworthy. I'm not saying that they are not. Please don't take it negatively. What I'm saying is, we know this thing that there are so many business houses, right? There are so many hospitals. Their motive is just to extract as much as money as possible. And you will find this thing, right, that when you have insurance, let's say if you have big insurance, 15 lakh, 20 lakh cover, and when you go and when you are admitted in a hospital for even a petty thing like for 50,000, for 50,000 rupees, you can get treatment for that, but they will take the bill to 2 lakh, 3 lakh, 4 lakh, 5 lakh rupees, because they know that the money is not coming from your pocket, it's coming from insurance. So they will ask you to stay for a couple of more days, and they are making money like that, So these things are also a reality, but the good thing is that there are so many private doctors. They have proven their caliber. They are there working as coronavirus warriors. And these are the people who are, again, as I told you, they are building this doctor-patient relationship. There was a time when patients used to trust doctors. Whatever they say, they used to trust it. But in between, in last few decades, we have seen that this the relationship, this trust deficit is there. So this is a time, these doctors who have been working as corona warriors, they have created this environment, and this pandemic has also provided this environment to us that we can reform the things, these bad things that are going on, we can repair these things. In reverse gear, this article is altogether, an eye-opener. The things that we have talked about environment in this APJ Kalams sir's topic. Here you find that a few days ago, remember, we were talking about this thing that environment impact assessment. Government has created this new thing where you will get permission once you create your building or something. Let's say if you want to create a project in jungle area, then you go for it, and then later on you can apply for permission. So this is very bad, isn't it? This is giving a sort of green signal that you can destroy the jungle, create things in names of development and destroying environment, and then this is very bad. And it is unfortunate that our environment ministry is not taking things that seriously when it comes to public participation. This thing has been dropped. Independent expert opinion has also been dropped from the latest notification. And we have this section 26, which says that which provides a list of projects that would not attract environment clearance or permission. This is under this new EIA. And you have section 14 provides exemption for these and some other projects from public consultation, also limiting the scope of public involvement to district concerned in case of national parks and sanctuaries. So in the name of development, government is clearing jungles, giving liberal, concessions and permissions, and highways and roadways are given green signal. Easily they are getting green signals in names of development, in the name of development, and this is very dangerous thing. A study of coal mining clearance shows that 4,302 hectares of forest were diverted over 2014 to 18. Favorable extraction over conservation. Moving on to the last topic of the day, modern tools, age-old wisdom. This one is about India and Sri Lanka's relationship. I'm going to be very brief here. We have age-old relationship with Sri Lanka, ancient time relationship, religious, cultural and social relationship, and now we need to use modern toolkits, the latest challenges and opportunities, keeping in mind the age-old relationship. We need to rejuvenate, or we have to repair, as well as we have to rebuild our relationship. As you can see here, the old capital of Sri Lanka ancient capital was Anuradhapura, and today is, of course, Colombo. Not Colombia. Colombia is a country. I beg your pardon. Colombo is the capital. Here you can see this is here. Colombo is the capital of Sri Lanka. Okay, so Buddhism traveled from India to Sri Lanka, and then so many Buddhist monks from Sri Lanka, they traveled to India, China, Cambodia and Java. Then came colonial powers, extraction of resources and making money, and all this were the agenda of colonial powers. The freedom struggle of India had its influence on Sri Lanka, and all the things that has happened in India has its positive impact on Sri Lanka, and the same is it's other way around as well. It applies, like positive things in Sri Lanka, they had their positive impact on the life of India as well. But nowadays we find this communal hostility in various different parts of the world, and so many global leaders are talking about protectionism, too much of protectionism, and closing their economies. So this is something that we have to be careful about, both these nations, Sri Lanka and India, because a security challenge of India is a security challenge of Sri Lanka, and a business opportunity for India is a business opportunity for Sri Lanka. So together these two neighboring countries should work with each other, for each other, and we can create good, excellent neighborhood relationship, and we can have prosperity. We can have a prosperity for people of both nations, and we have to work on people to people relationship, right? People to people contact, basically. And that's everything. See, news items, dear friends, you have to download the PDF and go through it. The one that I was talking about, environment, is here, Dare to Dream. Not environment, but I was talking about APJ Kalams, right? 5th death anniversary, and this concept, Dare to Dream 2.0, was launched. So that's everything in today's discussion. Thank you very much for watching this video. Today we had so many articles, isn't it? So I tried to be a bit quick today. So that's everything. I'll see you with daily financial news analysis. God bless you all. Jai Hind.